the easiest way to ceramic coat your vehicle without polishing.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail.
Ah!
What we're going to be doing today is polishing without polishing. I almost fell over there. Today, we will be not polishing this beautiful Yukon and coating it, but we have polishes in our hands.
Well, I was whispering, Ivan, because it's almost a secret. It's that great of information.
Yeah, you don't need to polish a new vehicle. You need to prep it properly, and in the previous video, you saw us wash and decontaminate this brand new truck. So it doesn't need paint correction. The paint is pristine on it. It's beautiful. What it does need is the paint to be as deeply clean as possible, and that's where C6 adhesion promoter polish comes in.
I was gonna ask you, how do you know if the vehicle needs to be polished first or not? And I think the answer you're gonna give, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is what does the customer want? If you're the customer and you look at this paint after it's been washed and you say, it looks amazing, I just wanna protect it, that's all the answer I think you need.
Right, exactly. But it does need to be completely decontaminated, which we did, and deeply cleaned, which is what the app does. Now the adhesion promoter polish, think of it as our panel prep stage, but using a tool instead of using a microfiber towel.
And are we hedging against any potential wax or sealant the dealership might have put on it?
Exactly, that's what we're after.
With this final step,
Yes.
after the proper wash,
Yeah.
and the decontamination with the iron remover, and the water smart remover, all of which is detailed in the previous video. It's in the description below. Don't watch it now, watch it later.
Yeah. From here, we have our red jeweling pad on a short stroke machine. This one is 5 millimeters. 2 to 9 millimeters, not a rotary and not a long stroke DA, so 9 millimeters max. And we just want to maintain backing plate rotation. That's as fast as we need to go with the tool. Putting 2 or 3 drops on our pad to start. And I say to start because we're going to try to stretch this out as far as we can.
Ivan, I know there's people out there who've never heard of adhesion promoter polish, or they've heard of it, but they've never tried it. What are they missing out on?
They're missing out on glossier paint. They're missing out on a longer lasting coating, and they're missing out on a great experience. This, again, replaces panel prep, and it works for every coating on the market. It's not coating specific. The other thing is, it's not a time specific product. There are primer polishers on the market that have very restrictive times, meaning you put it on, you have to let it sit for X amount of time, then you wipe it off, and you have to apply the coating within X amount of time. We can apply it, wipe off immediately, or wait till tomorrow to wipe it off. It doesn't matter. We can wipe it off and apply the coating right behind it, or we can wipe it off and wait a day before applying the coating. Again, it doesn't matter, it doesn't make a difference. We just need to get this on the paint. Once it's on the paint, we level it with a towel, and we're good to go.
Shall we?
Yes.
Should I work it in slower, Ivan? Am I working to try to bring out more gloss? Am I doing the work here, I guess is the question I should think about as I'm doing this.
Let the tool do the work, and as long as it's applied to the surface, you don't need to work it any longer. This should be a very quick process. You're not doing this for 2 hours on the vehicle trying to polish it. If you need any form of paint enhancement or correction, that you do with the gold standard polish. This is a deep cleaning. We're slightly swelling the paint. It's not we're not making it a 1/4 inch thick. Slightly swelling, 0.5 micron to 1 micron maximum. But at the same time, it's opening up the pores. That way the coating will go into the paint instead of onto the paint.
It is so hard to see on this paint if I'm laying down the adhesion promoter polish. Now normally my tendency is always grab more product, let's rock and roll. But you know what I did? I actually went to a window for the test. And if I can do this and I see a lot of app on the surface, that means I have plenty to work with. So trust the window tap method to know if you need to reapply. If you get a little bit on there, it's okay to put another drop or 2 on, but that's a substantial amount. I can still see white from my original drops. So I'm gonna keep working on this front fender. All right, Ivan, I just washed the vehicle. I thought I blew out every single drip. Now I'm getting water drips, and I know app doesn't like water. What do I do?
Take a towel and wipe them up.
Pretty easy, folks.
I've done the hood, 1/2 of the roof, and now I'm just needing 1 or 2 more drops on the pad. It's starting to be a little less intensive. 2 small drops, and I carry on. cracks and crevices, well, not a big concern. We're getting it everywhere here. Now, there are instances where you might find the app difficult to level or to remove. And that is down to 2 or 3 things. 1, you use too much product. B, you overworked the product. And that can come from 2 different ways. One is just sitting there and going over and over and over and over again, or not using the right tool. Once again, 2 to 9 millimeter stroke DA. We're using a 5 millimeter stroke machine, which is the best you can get for this application. We'll have links down below. Nick is using a cordless one, I was using a corded one. And then to level, your towel of choice makes a difference too. You'll notice I've got a short nap pearl weave, and I also have a fluffy towel. I'm doing it 2-handed, 1 hand first, going over the surface with the short nap towel, then I just do my little insurance wipe with the thicker or high nap towel.
The fancy palm sander, cordless, it's great, Ivan.
Yes.
But your Harbor Freight $20 DA sander will do the job just as well.
100%, just a little bit louder. Now I'm actually gonna leave this grill till the end because I have a risk of picking up a drop of water or 2. So I'm gonna do the side first, the roof, then I'll do wherever there's a risk of having a drop of water, which in this case, the front end and the back end of this vehicle.
Well, if you're a professional detailer and you don't have a step stool or a ladder or a platform trying to climb on trucks, it is not the way to do it.
100%, definitely not the way to do it.
Are we applying adhesion promoter polish to the windshield, Ivan?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Sometimes we...
The only time you won't do it is if you're going to be using C6 Hydro Glass. In this case, we're not doing that today.
I'm getting a very light film when I tap it on the window.
Yep.
Is that enough?
That is enough.
All right, I'll keep it going. Ivan, earlier as I was doing the app process, I had just that towel that I was using to wipe off the water, the drips, before I put app on there.
Right.
Can you explain why app doesn't like water?
So we use app with a dry pad for a reason. And that is the water will dilute it, first of all. But secondly, there's a bit of polysilazane and SiO2 in there. Those are 2 components that are cured by water. So we don't want them curing on the surface. We want them to be able to do their job, which is not being cured on the surface. They are there to help hold the paint open in that swollen state. They're not there to provide protection. They're not there to do anything else. There's such a minute amount. All they do is hold the pores open long enough for us to get the coating in there. And those 2 components react with water, meaning not a good idea.
I think with app, the biggest thing is just forget what you think you know about how to prepare and coat a vehicle. And because this has now been tried and tested, I think a lot of folks are buying into it. But I'm still kind of like, why am I not using panel prep? Is this enough? Is this really gonna work? And that's my head being socialized in a culture of detailing where it was always panel prep, ceramic coat.
Yeah. It's a very different process for sure. And it's one that works extremely well. It's extremely efficient as well. So it's very quick to do this. It's faster than panel prep, and it's safer than panel prep. Because panel prep, you're rubbing, and a lot of people unfortunately still use isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol is not something that lubricates. So lack of lubrication means if you're rubbing it on the surface, you have a scratch risk. The app provides a bit of lubrication, and it's designed to do this, and it's not something you're taking out of your medicine cabinet and hoping it's gonna work.
Folks would be surprised, this actually does bring a lot of enjoyment and gloss.
Yeah.
And it's faster than panel prep, which I never got, because panel prep, you're like, oh, spray and wipe, but by the time you spray and wipe and work the same section by accident 3 times, that's the way I used to do it. Panel prep took longer than I thought it did when I started watching the videos. And you recommend folks watch themselves detailing, right? It can help them become more efficient.
100%. Now that I've done the side and the back, the grill is the last part to do for me because I want to make sure that, again, this is an area that has a potential for dripping. We've used a blower on this, we've used an airline to try to get as much of this liquid out. It's always going to have a little liquid retained in there until it actually does air dry, which takes a bit of time. There's a lot of intricacies here that need to be dealt with, so I'm going to wipe this last. taking me longer to clean off this front end and grill than it did the whole side of the car, just because of these incessant water drips. But I'm trying to get all of them out of here so that when we apply the coating, we don't have water dripping on us.
Ivan, I love Hydro Light. C6 Hydro Light, beautiful packaging, a fantastic consumer available coating. Can you explain the C6 line and what this is all about?
So C6, like the DIY coatings, contain polysiloxane. They contain silicon carbide, silicon nitride, and silicon dioxide, or SiO2. But they also contain refined detonated nanodiamonds. And that's what really makes the difference with the C6 line. Now we have the C6 professional line, Hydro and Diamond, but then we have Hydro Light, which is more consumer friendly. The professional coatings, the application is nice and easy. But if you get a high spot, you're going to regret it for a long time. Whereas with Hydro Light, it's much easier to deal with high spots because there's less of a concentration of the refined detonated nanodiamonds.
But still phenomenal water beads. We've had a lot of people use this, and months later they're posting on the DIY Detail Facebook page, look at the beading, look at the gloss. If you're not a member of the DIY Detail Facebook group, please request to join. It's a great place to ask your questions. If you feel like you could use the community hive mind, like you just want to know, I want to get 15 different answers on something, right?
Yes.
Like I want to just tap into like a lot of people's experience. That's a great way to do it. They're not always going to have Ivan next to them, but they will always get answered on YouTube as well.
Right. And the other thing with the Facebook group, if someone is not being a nice person, they're removed from the group. It is a friendly atmosphere.
Okay, Ivan, it's getting a little toasty in the shop, which is exactly what you love. I'm curious to know how that's going to affect ceramic coating application. A lot of folks are going to have different circumstances based on where they live, based on the humidity and the temperature and all that.
Yeah.
As we apply, do you mind explaining how that might affect your coating leveling?
Right. So your coating leveling will be a little faster if you have high humidity and or high temperature. And despite Nick, it's only 72 degrees in here. It's not that warm.
Well, when I arrived in Omaha, Ivan, it was the middle of a blizzard, and about a week later, it's 70 degrees outside. So we've had a lot of conditions here in the shop, and we've had a lot of coatings, and so I figured, hey, just let's mention the temperature and what folks might expect.
8 to 10 drops on my applicator. I'm going to spread it on a section. Normally I would box in, but this is way too wet to box in. I'm going to start in the middle, and you can see just how thick it is, how it's running, because I need it to be spread on my pad. Then from there, I'm going to spread this as far as I can, boxing in the edges, coming back and picking up this excess that I have here and spreading it even further. Because if you have too much, you end up, if you have too much, you end up with what we call phantom high spots, which are high spots that it looks like you leveled the coating, it feels like you leveled the coating, and a half hour later, you get a surprise.
Ivan, I see these drips. Those are what we call runs with the coating.
Yes.
I'm tempted to grab my leveling towel, but that's gonna get my leveling towel wet. We don't want that, right?
Right. So I'm going back over this, picking up that excess into my applicator, because now I had spread over there, and I'm gonna spread even further. And now it's starting to cross-link the way it should. I'll leave you the ladder there, Nick, so you can level off.
And one important thing to know is like, we're doing the hood, right?
Yes.
But because of those runs that you got way off the panel, I have to remember to level way outside the lines because you applied outside the lines.
Yes.
Can you talk about that strategy? Because back in the day, I would always want to keep it in the panel and I would never want to go outside of that panel.
No. Now we can think back to our days of kindergarten when the teacher was always telling us to color within the lines. You get to color outside the lines. You want to color outside the lines here.
There's sometimes in detailing where you wipe a panel, like on an interior, and just because you've wiped it doesn't mean it's clean.
No.
You gotta use the right chemical combo, make sure it works. You know, you can't just say I've wiped it and I'm good.
Yeah.
If you do this right with the coating, you should be good with one no pressure leveling wipe. However, why do we use this insurance towel, Ivan? Because I prefer to do the 2-towel method.
Well, the term insurance says it. It's just to make sure that you haven't left a high spot.
What do we call this in the middle of the hood, Ivan?
Some people call it the widow's peak or the lost area. The Bermuda Triangle.
No man's land.
Yeah.
It's an easy spot to either miss or leave high spots with coating. It's an easy spot to miss when you're washing. It's that area right up there on the windshield and on the hood. And I'm gonna remember to myself, I have not reached up there and you're coating that now, so I'll level that just a bit.
Yeah. Now that Nick has done the whole hood, it's a big piece of hood, let's work our way down the side. So I've added 3 drops to my applicator pad. I'm going to box in this fender, overlapping onto the door, the hood, the front bumper, and then fill in nice circular motions, picking up that liquid.
You got a little drop up here as well, unlike Ivan to use a little bit more product than...
It's actually a little too much on my pad, so I'll do the headlight while I'm here.
So if that happens, maybe just try to extend it out a little bit?
Yeah. I put 3 drops instead of 2, and that was that 3rd drop.
Yeah, sometimes 1 extra drop can actually be a little bit of a doozy.
Yeah.
I still really see that coating on the surface. I may give it another 20 seconds unless you're full sending it.
No, it needs to wait a few seconds.
Yeah, so if you still really see those oil on water slick, those circles, trust your eyes. We want to wait for about 50% of it to go. If it feels rough, not rough, but grabby under your towel, it's a little bit too soon to level. However, you can't get this wrong, right?
Not really. You have to really work at it to get it wrong.
Like if your towel gets wet, you're still getting the coating on the panel.
Right, the coating is immediately on the panel. That's not a concern. It's just, we don't want your towels getting wet and you having to change towels halfway through or worry about all of that, so. Now, when Nick has done the fender, he'll do the mirror and the upper part of this door. And the reason I'm breaking the door into sections, more manageable, and at the same time, I can move to another section. I'm not in Nick's way while he is leveling off, and he's not in my way while I'm applying. So hopscotching back and forth like this is a really nice, safe technique to make sure you're getting all the areas you need, but at the same time, not in each other's way.
Ivan, there have been times in the past where I'm scrubbing in there. I'm not gonna leave any high spots, and the whole vehicle is moving back and forth.
Right, you don't need to do that. The less pressure you use, the better it is.
And if you're feeling the need to use pressure, it might be too soon on the leveling.
Too soon or unfortunately too late. And if it is too late, not a problem. Take your applicator, go back over it.
And that reactivates the coating?
Yeah. Now there are some coatings on the market that are very, very hard to work with, and you need to apply pressure, and you need to use multiple towels. Not something we're fans of. Now that Nick is doing the upper portion of that door, I'll do the lower portion of this one. Now silver is my second least favorite color to apply coating to. White is my least favorite, but silver, we can see a bit of the coating reacting on it. On a white paint, it's very difficult. Now, if you only have white cars, I'm sorry, no, that's fine. That is actually the most popular car color. But if you have the choice to do your first coating on a non-white vehicle, it will make it easier for you.
We talk on this channel a lot about ceramic coating, high spot, hot spots. One of them is gonna be the corner of windows. So I'm just making sure that I'm getting into the corner of this glass. It's just an easy spot to leave a high spot, Ivan.
Yep, definitely.
Any other high spot, hot spots?
Anywhere there's an intersection. Handles, all sorts of things.
And a high spot is an excess of coating. It doesn't mean your paint isn't protected. In fact, it means there's lots of protection. However, people don't love the look of it. Let's talk about high spots, Ivan. Are they a problem?
They are. Now, high spots are a problem in the sense that they don't look good. Are they a problem physically? No. They actually mean you have an excess of coating there. So it's not a bad thing, but it doesn't look right. So it's not something you want to leave.
Some might call it your artistic signature, but I don't know who those some are.
His name is Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you know Nick has been there. I prefer kind of the palm print on the hood. That was a good one back in the day.
Yeah.
We were in Eddie Cologne's garage, and one of us had coating on their glove. I don't know if it was his daughter or something, but I can't blame them. I'll say it was me. It probably was. And there was like a handprint high spot left on. Let's just say it wasn't my proudest moment, Ivan.
Yeah.
I've made some strides since then. We don't joke about high spots in this garage. Look at how serious Ivan is. We're serious. We're coating. We're getting the job done the right way.
Couple additional drops. Nick is doing the lower part of that door. I'll do the upper part of the rear quarter panel. And we just keep moving around the vehicle easily, simply, and methodically. And using prominent body lines as our definition points just makes it easy. If you're feeling a lot of resistance on your applicator, maybe time to add a drop or two. So the window nick, the upper, and this piano black element here. And you can see the oil slick on water look on this piano black. It's very evident.
You ready for me? Ivan, I'm doing my best to keep these in perfect fours. Sometimes it gets away from me. Does not having it in perfect four say to you, hey, form's off, we need to reevaluate? Like, is it a good reminder to just check in with your process? Or how do you feel about the perfectly folded towel?
Well, the towels will naturally want to unfold. It's just the way they are.
Yep.
But try to keep it folded. That way you're reducing pressure points.
Yep.
And just doing a better job.
I was sort of thinking, I'm on camera, so I gotta keep them folded, but to know that it's normal is reassuring, I think. Because everything looks a type of way on the internet, and folks out there who are learning from us might not have all the experience that you do. Now, the backhanded application method, is that pretty normal for you?
Yes.
Is that how you do it all the time?
Not all the time, just depends on what angle I'm at and what's easiest on my body.
Okay, can you elaborate? Because that's the first time I've noticed that. I'm always so into my leveling.
So it doesn't matter if I'm doing this or this, but see how my shoulder is jacked up this way? Whereas this way, my shoulder's at a normal height.
Got it. What is normal to Ivan may not seem so normal to everyone else. So I try to find those little gems, Ivan. Why do we even use one of these round foam applicators to apply our ceramic coatings? I mean, for the longest time, I was sold on a little microfiber cloth on a block.
Yeah, the little microfiber cloth on a block is very hard to hold on to, whereas our applicator holds on to you. You don't need to hold on to it. The other thing is, this, I can get into all these little cracks and crevices very, very easily. I can fold it in, get it in there. I can get around this emblem very easily. So there's a lot of advantages to this. Plus, unlike the microfiber ones, even those very thin suede ones or the ones with the plastic inside, this lays the coating down a lot more evenly and at the same time doesn't absorb a lot of coating. Now, I have drips coming out here, so I'm just gonna wipe these drips off before putting the coating on, because this back end seems to want to drip forever. We've used a leaf blower, we've used compressed air, we've opened and closed the hatch, and it's still leaking. So we need to be a little cautious there. Very important to coat the backup cameras. You want them staying nice and clean.
These chrome pieces, or the plastic that looks like chrome,
Yes.
they really pop after you coat them.
Yeah. So the whole hatch is done. I'll go to the other side. I'll come back to do the bumper once Nick is done with the hatch here. So let me quickly interject and get
Finish
the other
the
half
glass.
of the window.
Perfect. How do you feel about basically leveling windows immediately?
Depending on the temperature and humidity, it's a good idea. It's not that warm in here today. It is a little humid, but just keep your eye on it. And
Okay.
if you see that it's time to do it, you do it.
Okay. Sometimes I feel like immediately, but today, with it being a little humid, give it a second and then I'll go for it. And leveling towel. Ooh, it's already so slick over here. These corners, high spot, hot spots. I'm gonna triple check that that's good. Wipe onto the adjacent panel just in case. just ever so lightly, but maintaining a contact patch, realizing that corners can always be high spot, hot spots. Any tips for applying the coating around emblems, Ivan? I'm working on leveling it, but I didn't watch you.
Yeah, with our applicator, you can fold it and get it in there. It's very easy to get the coating everywhere. Those little blocks you were talking about, very difficult to get in there.
Absolutely. But you're not using brushes or anything to coat emblems?
No, no need.
Okay.
And you don't want to be spraying or coating either. I've seen people do that. It's very dangerous. There's a lot of chemicals in the coating that when we're using it like this, they're fine. But if you're atomizing them, not so good, because it's getting on your skin, it's getting everywhere. We're using gloves, it's nice and safe. We get asked, what's the best coating you have? Is it the stack? Is it Hydro-Lite? There's no right answer there. It's what do you want out of your coating? If you want the ultimate in hydrophobics, then Hydro-Lite is the way to go. If you want that waxy glow to a vehicle, the 8.3 stack. And if you want a glossy mirror-like finish, the 5.3 stack. Now, they're all glossy, they're all hydrophobic, but there's little idiosyncrasies between each one. And for me, Hydro is one of my favorite. So easy to apply as well. But the 8.3 stack, like what you have on your Jeep, and I've had it before on my vehicles, it's so smooth feeling.
I love Hydro-Lite. I have it on one car, my Subaru Legacy.
Yeah.
It was super forgiving in the application. I remember that, and of course it is here today as well. If you have a high spot, you just reapply a little coating on the applicator, and then a quick wipe with your leveling towel. And the water beads have been insane, some might say. So yeah, the hydrophobics are fantastic. I just got the 8.3 stack because I thought to myself, I want to know what all the hype's about, you know? I want to know, will the 2 layers give me that peace of mind?
Stop. Not 2 layers.
Not 2 layers. Okay, people get confused by that.
Yeah, 2 coatings, but we're actually combining the 2 on the surface. There's a window of opportunity there between 2 and 8 hours, and we're actually combining the 2 coatings on the surface. So it's not 2 layers. It's not like we're putting one coating on top of the other. We're actually putting one coating into the other.
Sounds like a superpower, Ivan. All I know is I wanted it.
Chemistry. So back bumper, including the black plastic pieces, Nick.
Okay. If folks out there who are watching have had their vehicle ceramic coated with any of our coatings, what did you choose? How is it holding up? Why did you choose it in the first place? We want to know real world feedback. I love hearing it, Ivan. That way it takes it from us telling you something to other folks confirming it or giving us feedback that we can improve on. But I don't know, is there one coating that you feel like everybody just seems to love?
Our 8-year coating is our most popular coating. So it stands to reason that's probably the one that people love the most. Because a lot of people have multiple vehicles and they apply multiple coatings on different vehicles and they come back to the 8-year. So it's a very popular one. Now, Hydro-Lite is getting more and more popular every day for a reason. We have our 3-year coating, Nick, and that's one that sells well too. And it's a little more budget friendly, but at the same time, it's not any easier to apply than our other coatings. All our coatings, when it comes to ease of application, are the same. But what the 3-year does, it has a bit of graphene oxide in it. And that graphene oxide, what it does is help reduce the incidence of water spots. Not going to prevent, but it helps to reduce the incidence of water spots. So up here, Nick?
Well, okay. How about this? I park outside.
Yeah.
I'm worried about water spots. What's the right coating for me?
So if you're worried about water spots, so first of all, know that rain doesn't cause water spots. What causes water spots is either poor wash technique or parking beside a sprinkler. But using our friend the 3-year coating, because of that reduced graphene oxide, it helps to mitigate or reduce the risk of water spots. It's not going to eliminate water spots because water spots, they're a tough thing to deal with. But it is going to reduce the possibility of water spots.
And that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because the roads are a jungle. We can't control what's going to happen on those roads. We can control what we can control. And all I want is the best shot at protection, knowing that the variables will be too many to predict, control, or count over the course of this vehicle's life.
So quarter panel, including taillight. Making sure to get in and around this door handle, very important. You want that protected, but also the feel when the owner of the vehicle goes to grab that door handle and their hand almost slips off, that's magical. The chrome trim, obviously we do, and all the way down to this black plastic.
Yeah, the Jeep has those black trim handles.
Yeah.
And I'm missing out on one of the great joys of having a coated vehicle, which is the smooth as silk coated handle feel every time you walk into the car.
Yeah, the black textured plastic, no matter how much you coat it, it's never gonna feel quite as smooth.
Nope.
So upper portion of the driver's door, including the mirror nick, and then I'll get this front fender. Then we're almost done.
This hasn't been stressful, this hasn't been hard, just a lot of kind of method. You know, there's method to this.
Yeah, applying a coating is just, if you're methodical in life, it's gonna be super easy. If you're sort of all over the place, well, you might have to watch yourself. See if we can catch this. People are worried about a brand new vehicle, getting it perfect from the factory, etc. Look at this. There's actually a spot in the paint here. And that's in the paint. There's nothing we can do about it.
I see it.
So this we couldn't sand. It's actually like a little nib in there. So there's nothing we can do about that. So you don't need to stress about it. Even new cars are not perfect.
Always want to make sure you remember to level the glass on the passenger side and the driver's side mirror. Why would we want to bring that up, Ivan?
Well, a friend of mine has an issue with that. He seems to forget that spot more than once.
It happened a couple times, very memorably so, and since then, I triple level that area. Especially on the driver's area, you know, the driver's door, it's going to be very well noticed. It's obviously a door that gets used a lot.
Yeah, and the mirror gets noticed every time you drive.
Yep.
Whether it's the driver's side or the passenger side. But if you can practice being methodical, then you'll be much better at applying coatings.
And you got the front fender.
Yeah.
Sometimes Ivan's talking, but I'm so focused on the paint that I don't always hear where he's been. So I saw the rainbow oil slick on water look. Just wanted to confirm. Of course, I'm leveling outside the lines because that will give you the best chance of success here. Oh, the paint feels so good. It is rewarding. We do this all the time, and it just never gets old. Some things get old, like wheel cleaning, but by the time you ceramic coat of the vehicle, this is so rewarding. And I know it's gonna be years of protection, peace of mind for the customer, so you know you're really doing them a solid as well. Like, you're serving them, really.
Yes. So lower part of the door.
Okay.
So getting the headlight and all around the headlight here. And again, this applicator, I can fold it in and get all these little areas quite easily. Now the center of the grille, I'm not going to do. If it's your own vehicle and you have that type of patience, by all means enjoy. But I like to use quick beads on that when we do a maintenance wash. Makes it easy, keeps it protected. And you can do that every maintenance wash if you want, or every 3 or 4 months, and you'll be fine. And we know the owner of this vehicle, they maintain their vehicles quite well. So we know it's going to be washed on a regular basis. We're doing the chrome surround on the grille, but the center section, I'll leave be. Like I said, that's going to be the job of quick beads. I will get the GMC emblem here. And our camera person told me that I have to do these chrome lines. So I'll listen to her. Happy wife, happy life.
Ivan, you have the most amusing idiosyncrasies. You hate these front grills when it comes to ceramic coating application.
Right. They're tedious, they take a long time, and we have quick beads that does such a great job on it. Why waste your time coating this when at the first maintenance wash you can apply some quick beads and keep that maintained.
You'll see the beading
as time goes by.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, Ivan, this chrome, what is it, real chrome?
No, this is plastic.
Yeah, but this plastic that looks like chrome,
Yeah.
I mean, it just pops once it's coated. Will it stay looking that good?
Yes, it will actually. It'll help.
You know, are ceramic coatings a force field? Are they the one-stop shop? You do it once and you're good for life?
Not at all. I'm gonna help Nick out here since I'm the one who coated the chrome. I'll make sure it's got no high spots.
It looks so good, Ivan. I know I say that a lot, but it's kind of like we know what we're doing, and so that's probably why I say that a lot. Like, I'm just honestly giving you my feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It looked good when it came in.
It looked good when it came in, but it looks better now. It's gonna stay cleaner longer. It's gonna be easier to maintain. Now, very important behind here is the LiDAR, or the adaptive cruise control sensor. It's behind here. Many vehicles, some it's hidden behind the grille, but normally when you see a flat plastic piece like that, that is that sensor. You want to coat that. People are worried that it's going to, interfere. Actually, it's not going to interfere. It's going to reduce the accumulation on it if you're driving in the snow and stuff, meaning that it's going to protect you even more. Same thing with cameras. You want to do cameras and sensors in the bumper. We have sensors here. A lot of people are afraid, if I put coating on the sensors, it's going to stop it. Not at all. You want to coat all of that. They're there for your protection. And the more we protect them, the better they're going to be. Nick? Yeah.
No, it looks phenomenal. And we haven't even put tire shine on it, Ivan.
No tire dressing yet.
Do you put tire dressing on a coated vehicle?
I always do. It's a nice, nice thing at the end to do. So, Nick, we're gonna end it there, but there's another video they should be watching on a slightly smaller vehicle.
Yeah, it's how to actually maintain your coated vehicle. So you got the coating, you've applied it. Now how do you maintain it? We explain it all, folks, right here.